happy souls, welcome back to my channel. This is Charlotte with Happy Twins 1111. My beautiful friends, there's so many new subscribers this week. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'm so humbled by your continued presence, and I just love doing these readings for you, and this one is one of my favourites. Today we are going deep. We're going really deep. Let's take a deep look at this relationship. What on earth is going on between you and this person? We're going to get all the details. And when I do these readings, we look at the energies of both counterparts, you and your person. We're looking at the energy you're in presently, how each of you are thinking and feeling about one another, what's shifting for you, and of course we'll bring through lots of guidance. But we're really looking to get to the bottom of this. What's the truth? What are you not seeing about how you and this other person are meeting in the middle? So take your time choosing a pile. As always, there is no right or wrong way. Just see which one you're drawn to. I've got 3 for you today. Pile number 1 is the lovely Omens Tarot with this piece of Lemurian quartz. In pile number 2, we've got the Vagabond Wild Tarot with this piece of rose quartz. And in pile number 3, we've got the Modern Witch Tarot with this piece of rainbow fluorite. So the timestamps are in the description box below. That's where I prefer to choose from. But just see which one you're drawn to. You may be drawn to more than one pile. And if that's the case, it just means that there's more than one pile with messages for you. But remember, these are general readings. They're not going to resonate 100% for everyone. So please apply a high level of discernment. Take what resonates for you, leave what doesn't. Okie dokie, I will see you at your pile. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Lemurian Quartz and lovely Omens Tarot. And we're asking today, what is going on between you and this person? What is the truth of this connection? We're going deep today, friends, and we're going to get all the details. We're using oracle cards, we're using charms. We're going to see what's really happening between you two. This is all about bringing forward the information that you need to know the most to help you move forward for the highest good of both of you, to shed some light on all the confusing aspects of this connection. So take a deep breath and hold your person in mind. Ask for a sign if you like to do that. A sign just helps to validate the messages we receive. It reassures us that, it was for us and that Spirit's listening. You can ask for anything. You can ask for an object, an animal, a phrase, a symbol, numbers, whatever works for you. Now, in this reading, I actually used 3 decks. The Divine Feminine Energies, we're going to use the deck that you've chosen. And for the Divine Masculine Energies, we're going to use this one, the Naked Heart Tarot. And for the connecting energies down the middle, we're going to use a 3rd deck, which I'll shuffle in a minute. But when I do these readings, I do refer to the Divine Feminine as she and the Divine Masculine as he. However, they are not gender-specific readings, so please adjust the gender pronouns as fits your situation. For you guys, it might be she, or he, or perhaps the Divine Feminine counterpart is a male. Whatever works for you, there's no right or wrong way. The reason I use the she and he is because when I do these readings and I'm channeling, I get confused when I'm using the they, them pronouns. I just get mixed up and I forget which counterpart I'm referring to. So it just helps keep me on track. I'm not trying to offend anyone. And it's simple enough just to, adjust the pronouns as you see fit. So that's the Naked Heart Tarot for the masculine. For the connecting energies down the centre of the reading, we're going to use the High Tarot. This is an independently created deck by my friend Dan Francis. It's really beautiful. You can still grab a copy of the 1st edition of this, although I'm pretty sure they're almost sold out. Dan Francis is actually the illustrator who is helping me create my oracle deck, which will be out this year. So grab a copy of this while you can. It's an absolutely beautiful deck to handle, and it kind of doubles as an oracle deck. You'll see when I pull the cards why. Okie dokie, let's get this reading on the road, pile 1. I'm going to draw energies for you first for the Divine Feminine. I assume you're the Divine Feminine watching. You may be the other counterpart, that's okay. So first we're looking, what are the current energies for the Divine Feminine? What energies is she in presently? Right, let's do this. So we have got the 6 of Cups in reverse, the 7 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Cups. And how's this Divine Feminine thinking and feeling about the connection and her counterpart? We've got the 10 of Pentacles, the World, and the Empress. And what's shifting for this Divine Feminine? got the Star in reverse. We've got the King of Swords. And we've got the Sun in reverse. Now don't worry about reversals. It doesn't mean they're negative. It's just a different way for me to read the cards. So let's draw some cards for the masculine energy. What's the current energy for the Divine Masculine? The Nine of Swords. The Page of Cups. Oh, we've got two out here. We've got the Naked Heart, which is a bonus card in this deck, and the Knight of Cups. So I'm just going to put those there. And how's this masculine thinking or feeling about their counterpart? We've got the Three of Cups. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. We've got, sorry, that's the Knight of Cups. That was the Queen of Cups. We've got the Knight of Cups in reverse. We've got Eight of Swords in reverse for what's shifting. Nine of Wands in reverse. And the Five of Pentacles. Let's get some cards of the connecting energies down the middle. Just going to move these across slightly, make a bit of space. Connecting energies for both counterparts, please. We've got the Three of Wands, the Fox. How they're thinking and feeling about other connecting energies are the King of Cups. And what's shifting for them, connecting energies, is the Ten of Wands. Now we're going to get a ton of oracle cards out and charms, but we're going to start with what's on the table. So what is going on between you and your person, pile one? I'm just going to arrange these so I can see them both. Okay. Okay, pile one. So we're going to start with the Divine Feminine. Her current energies, we've got Six of Cups reversed, Seven of Pentacles and 10 of Cups. Now, what I'm hearing is that this person has recently left a relationship. They've moved away from a karmic or soulmate connection, something that was very magnetic but also very toxic. It feels like they're now moving into this energy of investing in self and investing overall in the stability of their family unit. When we leave a relationship, obviously it can create waves and a lot of discomfort. You know, change is really uncomfortable, but it feels like this Divine Feminine is actually feeling very powerful. You know, they're really assured that they made the right decision, and it feels like it's something that was in motion for some time. And they're now in this energy of building a new way of life for themselves, of creating a new foundation from which they can spring from. These are actually very positive energies, even though there's a lot of tension in the air here. As I said, when we leave a relationship, it's really uncomfortable. But this is a Divine Feminine that was ready to do that. They were ready to move forward. They were ready to let go of whatever this toxic situation was. And they're very invested in themselves. They're invested in their growth. And they're invested in this connection. You know, make no mistake, this is a Divine Feminine that knows where she's going, and there is so much energy of faith here. This is the energy of someone that knows what she's worth, knows what she deserves, and is ready to embrace it all, is ready to open up to the abundance that is flowing to her. There is some energy of concern here, and again, it connects to the family unit. So this person may have children, or they may be dealing with the upheaval that's been created within a family situation as a result of moving away from that other connection. It does feel like that connection may have appeared initially to be a really satisfying soulmate-y kind of vibe. It quickly turned toxic, and it feels like it was very difficult to let go. It dragged out a long time. And so this Divine Feminine has finally found her groove with what's right for her, and she's stepped away with confidence. I can't help feeling so much power in the energy of these cards. You know, this is a Divine Feminine that's feeling really strong, and again, really faithful, just trusting what's coming next, you know, really confident in her ability to carve out something beautiful for herself. It's like, even though she's had to sacrifice this old relationship, it's opened up just a world of new possibilities. And so there's this energy of excitement and drive about moving forward. In terms of the connection, I feel like she's very quietly standing still. You know, this isn't someone that's chasing, but neither is it someone that is running. This is someone that just knows exactly what they ought to be doing at this stage. Even though they have doubts sometimes and they question themselves, they've kind of crossed over that threshold of pain when it comes to their divine counterpart, and they're recognizing their own power to satisfy self and to create harmony, balance, and joy for themselves. And so this is a really still, very magnetic, appealing energy that they're sending out to the masculine energy here. And the masculine isn't in such a good place. You know, the masculine is very stressed. If anything, you know, this divine feminine suddenly stepping into her power has been very triggering for this masculine, because previously they were in this very avoidant energy, and with the divine feminine's energy having become so stable and magnetic, they're very, very triggered right now to come forward. And yet there is so much fear connected to that. Now, remember, this Queen of Cups came up in reverse, so I'm just going to put it back in reverse again. It was just because I wanted to see it. And you know, the naked heart, they are feeling very vulnerable. We've got the Page of Cups here and the Queen of Cups in reverse. Now the Page of Cups, remember, represents innocence, naivety, immaturity. This person is somewhat emotionally inept. They haven't grown in the same way that the divine feminine has. They're still troubled by a great deal of insecurities, and their life right now feels very, very challenging. But with this divine feminine bringing in all of this powerful kind of, look at me, I'm vibing high energy, this masculine's kind of been pushed into chaser energy. You know, the magnets have literally flipped. The tables have turned. The shoe is on the other foot. And what we're seeing is this divine masculine trying to wrestle back control. So they're playing the usual immature games, which previously the divine feminine didn't really notice or may have even partaken in. But now it's clear for her to see, and it's making her cringe a little bit. You know, she's kind of saying, oh my God, you know, this isn't attractive. Actually, it was more exciting when this person was running, because I don't know, it's weird, it's bizarre psychology, isn't it, that we always want what we can't have. But she's now seeing how unhealthy and insecure this masculine is. And in that, she's obviously feeling much more confident and able to let this connection go. Again, this is very triggering for the masculine. He feels naked and vulnerable. He senses her strength and her confidence, and he feels like she can see right through him. When the Queen of Cups is in reverse, this is very manipulative energy. You know, this is someone that's grasping and clutching at straws to try and get control back. And they're not understanding that, you know, authentic, healthy relationships don't require anyone to be in control. It's about letting go of the ego's need for control so that we can just be authentic and true. But this masculine isn't ready to do that. And so they're probably showing up in a very kind of flighty, flirty, casual way, thinking they're being, you know, really clever with their silly games. And the divine feminine's over here kind of like, what are you doing? What is this all about? I'm here. You don't need to kind of play these games. The connecting energy here is the fox. This is actually the Three of Wands, but remember, the fox is a very strategic animal. Now, even though the divine feminine does err on the side of authenticity, she has got some understanding of her upper hand here. And there is this energy of kind of, you know, feeling quite relieved to find herself, you know, on the other side of that fence. But the Three of Wands is also about fulfillment. It's about our ship coming in. And what's really interesting about this is that the masculine here is being pulled and magnetized in. And as he approaches, the divine feminine is now like, I'm not sure that this is such an attractive proposition after all. This person isn't healthy. They're still playing these silly games, even though I've created space for authenticity and truth. This person still doesn't know how to interact with me at an authentic level. And that doesn't feel as attractive to me anymore. So the boundaries have really moved. The energy has really moved. It's flipped completely. The feelings are very revealing here as well. You know, the divine feminine, we've got 10 of Pentacles, the World, and the Empress. What powerful energies. This is a huge lineup for this divine feminine. The 10 of Pentacles and the World are both energies of completion and wholeness. But you've got the 10 of Cups here with this divine feminine. As I said, This is a divine feminine that's got her shit together. You know, she may have left a relationship, but she's no less abundant for it. She is making her own way in this world. She is feeling stable, abundant, powerful. She is manifesting. She is creating the future she wants. And she has this energy of wholeness and completion. This is the energy of union with self. This is the energy of someone that has finally found their power. And I just need to say, Divine Feminine, Spirit is so very proud of you, because this is a hard-won success for you. You fought really hard to be in this energy. You've really been through the mill, and you have hurt. You wrestled with the pain. You have challenged that inner dialogue that kept defeating you and bullying you. You have looked at your own personal circumstances, and you've made changes and adjustments that support your well-being, which was something you couldn't do before. You didn't have the confidence to do that before. You didn't know how to assert yourself and command what you deserved, but you have let all of that insecurity and fear go. You have risen up into your power, and I feel so excited for you. As I said, there's such very strong energies here that are presenting. And in terms of feelings for the masculine, this divine feminine loves him deeply, but she is very satisfied where she is. She no longer needs her masculine. And this is why the masculine is so very intimidated, you know, because they're not used to the divine feminine being so powerful. They're not used to being presented with this, I can take it or leave it energy. I'm here if you want me, you know, but I don't need you. So I don't need to play these silly games. She still thinks the world of her counterpart. And, you know, with the 10 of Pentacles as feelings, this is still a very union-oriented energy. But in this divine feminine, proud, and I don't mean proud in the negative sense, but proud as in, you know, self-satisfied and confident, she's very comfortable with the love that she can give herself. She is no longer grasping outside of self to feed, you know, herself, to fill that tank. She's learned how to give it to herself. I'm really intrigued that the wild card here shows us a person with their back to us. And I feel like this is really representative of how the divine feminine has turned her back on that old 3D paradigm. In her wholeness, she has been able to switch off from all the very triggering, silly little games that would have previously disabled her balance. The masculine, I mean, again, we've got another cups in reverse, this time the Knight of Cups. This is a masculine that's trying desperately to pull back and to resist their impulses to charge forward, because they feel this magnetism. You know, they feel this kind of energy of, oh my God, I need to be with her. But they're also not confident enough to be vulnerable and to open themselves up to it. So there's this terribly strong power of resistance, and they're trying to conceal all of this fear, all of this insecurity in a very kind of friendly, cheerful, silly interaction. You know, they may have been showing up in a really humorous way, perhaps, you know, being flirty, being fun, but not letting on how serious the deeper emotions are. You know, generally showing up in a very friendly way and trying to act light-hearted, trying to present the energy of someone that doesn't care too much, but that is the polar opposite of the truth. They do recognize this as a new beginning. You know, when the Ace of Pentacles comes up as feelings, this is someone that wants to take the coin and charge forward. It's a brand new start. Now, it's still a seed, but the seed is planted in this case. And the connecting energy here, being the King of Cups, is really revealing, because the King of Cups is the master of emotion, but it's also Scorpio energy that's very secretive. You know, this is someone that knows when to reveal their feelings and knows when to keep it under their hat. And whilst the masculine is showing up in a much more strategic way in that respect, you know, very keen to not let their guard down, not make themselves vulnerable, not be authentic in case they get hurt, the feminine is actually working with that very authentic emotional control. You know, they're not trying to control the situation, they're just observing the situation and deciding what's best for both counterparts before they speak or express themselves. Previously, this divine feminine would have rushed in with feelings and emotions because she had an agenda, because she wanted the masculine to reciprocate. She now understands that's chasing energy and it doesn't serve her. So when she speaks of her feelings, it's just because she feels guided to speak her truth. not because she's trying to manipulate a specific outcome or conversation. And so both of them are coming at it with this very strategic energy, but one from their heart and one from their ego. In terms of what's shifting here, you know, the divine feminine, this is where we see these two reversals with the star and the sun and the King of Swords. And what I see here is the rose-tinted glasses coming off. The divine feminine has been so wrapped up in the loving energy of this connection that for the first time, she's beginning to take off those rose-tinted spectacles and see her divine counterpart as they really are. She's no longer romanticizing this connection. She's seeing the truth of it, you know, with this King of Swords. And she knows what the truth is without a doubt. And this is somewhat triggering for her. We do see her moving into this energy of realizing that now she's done her work, there is literally nothing she can do to make her masculine do his. And this is quite sad, you know, to come all this way and to realize that union isn't waiting for you, that there isn't a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow after all. I don't want to, sorry, I've got a really weird, it feels like my sinuses are blocked, which never happens. I don't want you to think this is overly pessimistic. This is the energy that you're moving through. It's not that the situation is pessimistic. It's that you're facing the reality of it might, you know, move you. Oh, I've got this weird kind of energy coming up through the back of my nose. It's really annoying me. Sorry. I just clear it there. So the star in reverse is about someone that's no longer wishing for what isn't. You know, they're satisfied with what is and they're real. They see what's really possible. And so they're no longer trying to force what isn't. And there is a bit of a sad energy to that in letting go. You know, I remember that energy myself. It kind of feels like it's a resigned energy. It is what it is. And, you know, the sadness passes because at the end of the day, you are so satisfied in your independence and your powerful solitude. But there is something that's being missed here with the sun in reverse, some kind of truth that isn't yet illuminated, that the divine feminine doesn't have access to. So the guidance here is to be mindful of this idea that you know it all. You know, just because you assume you can't have the masculine actually take responsibility doesn't mean that that's going to be the outcome. Spirit is cautioning you here not to make decisions based on what ifs or assumptions. Remember, we can never really know. And the desire to know is a contradiction of surrender and acceptance. So this divine feminine is definitely heading into this energy of recognition, realization, you know, reaching the conclusion that this masculine is not going to be an easy relationship, and that actually maybe it's not for her right now. It's the recognition that union can't happen because the imbalances over here are not resolved, and that she has no power to do that. What's shifting for the masculine is really intense. The Eight of Swords in reverse, Nine of Wands in reverse, and the Five of Pentacles. When the Eight of Swords comes up in reverse, this is someone who is letting go of anxiety, but there is also a kind of giving up energy here with the Nine of Swords. Someone who doesn't have the strength or stamina to keep pushing forward. And we see here with this Five of Pentacles, someone that's feeling very rejected. And I get the impression here that with this King of Swords coming up, this is a powerful symbol for communication. I really feel like this divine feminine is going to feel compelled to deliver some hard truths, to tell this masculine, stop your games. I see your games. You know, I love you anyway, but what are you doing? And that's going to be very triggering for their fragile ego. I do think this will culminate in the divine feminine saying, I don't want a relationship with you while you're like this. And this is why we see this very painful rejection coming up here, and this feeling of, well, I kind of thought all along that I wasn't good enough for this relationship, and actually perhaps that's true. And yet the Eight of Swords comes up in reverse. There is a chink of faith here. In the feminine releasing some of this fear, the masculine by default has released some too. So even though that inner dialogue still creeps in and tries to trip him up, with the Eight of Swords in reverse, we do see the impact of that lessening. You know, he is beginning to release anxiety. He's learning to trust, because deep down he recognizes something that he didn't before, that he actually really wants this. And that's something he can't run from. He can run from the connection. He's feeling rejected and not entirely trusting that it can happen. But for the first time, even though he doesn't feel powerful enough to have it, to win it and to make it work, he wants to. And this is what we see with the beetle, you know, the 10 of Wands. This is the energy of taking responsibility. And the beetle is a very solitary animal. You know, to my mind, this is both counterparts learning to take responsibility for self. So very powerful energies, you know, moving between these counterparts, very big changes. And the divine feminine is guided to continue staying in her truth, to continue moving in a way that serves her, and to continue showing up authentically. There is a need to illuminate, you know, what's really going on here, to explain to the masculine, I'm here for you, I want you, but right now the way you're showing up isn't healthy, it isn't balanced, and you need to be accountable for that. So let's get some more cards here as well. Let's get some more cards. So for the divine feminine, I want to ask as well, what does she need to be aware of the most about how she approaches the masculine? We've got the Page of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. So this is quite simply saying, don't try and make this work. Allow things to unfold as they are. Remember, this is about letting go of control. The Page of Pentacles is very slow moving energy. It's also very gentle, youthful, naive energy. You know, it's without pressure. And when the 8 of Pentacles comes up, you know, this asks you not to invest too much, not to overinvest, not to try too hard, just to allow things to unfold exactly as they're meant to, and to be very quiet and measured, you know, before you take action. The Page of Pentacles is not an action-oriented card. It's a waiting card. It's the energy of observing and very carefully choosing how to move forward, you know, not rushing in, not being impulsive. We've got the Queen of Cups coming up in reverse here. This came up for the masculine. This is reminding you what you're dealing with. You know, the message here is that you can only meet someone as far as they have met themselves. They've got to meet you halfway on the bridge. It doesn't matter how authentic and loving and real you are. If the other person can't show up in the same energy, you're going to keep hitting the same brick wall. And this is what's coming into your zone of awareness. This is the truth that you're realizing and that Spirit's asking you to remember. This person isn't capable of the authentic love that you are right now. And so even though they're magnetized back to you, you know, it's such a cliche, but now this masculine is actually wanting you. The divine feminine's looking over here with a brand new evolved perspective and saying, actually, I don't know if I want this. That's so very interesting. Very typical, I will say as well, of a surrendered divine feminine. You're not alone. You mustn't feel guilty about this. It's very normal. You know, when we arrive at loving ourselves, we begin to make decisions based on our self-worth rather than our low self-esteem. Low self-esteem grasps and takes whatever's on offer, even if it doesn't serve us, because it's desperate. Self-worth really knows how to choose based on what does or doesn't measure up to our personal values and sense of worth. And this is the energy the divine feminine is moving into. It's easy for her to reject something that doesn't actually, you know, work for her or match up to her sense of value. What about the masculine? Page of Wands, Star in reverse. So the masculine is encouraged to remain playful and light-hearted, to embrace the spiritual nature of this connection. I do think this masculine is aware. I get the impression that that conversation's been had, that the divine feminine said, hey, you know, we're some kind of soulmates. And we see here with this Page of Wands that the masculine is looking at the wand, but he is not grasping it. You know, this is someone who isn't entirely comfortable with the spiritual nature of this connection. And again, we see this fox here, you know, because they're being too strategic. How can I exploit this spiritual connection is what the is what the masculine is thinking. How can I exploit it so that I can get back in control, so that I don't have to feel so vulnerable and naked? But they're not trusting that it can work out. You know, they are very triggered. All of their rejection and abandonment centers are heavily triggered, just like the divine feminine was when she was in chaser energy. What are they thinking? Do they really like me? You know, this is the energy of deep insecurity. But the masculine is guided to grasp the wand, trust and run with this energy. So let's get some guidance cards for you guys as well, and some charms before we take this over to the extended. So I'm going to get guidance cards for both counterparts. I'm going to start with an animal. For the divine feminine, it's the golden egg. Wow, for the masculine, it's the fox again. Spirit sure knows how to show us and reaffirm the message, huh? From the Iris Oracle, we've got slimy and the sword. Of the masculine, we've got alchemy and inside looking out. From the universe has your back deck. I'll read these in a moment. One for each one. And finally, we're going to use the personal, couple of cards from the personal power deck. We've got I am connected, I am authentic, and some charms. Oh, that one's full out, so we'll keep it for the divine feminine. Okay, let's see what we've got here. There's quite a few. So to start with, we got the police car. We have got the rainbow. Friends don't lie. Everything will be all right. I'm a stupid baby. We've got this, I don't know, it's some kind of clock with pages. I never know how to describe that one. We've got the Losers Club. Sad songs. The Crown. The record player. Wow, so many. The aeroplane. The Fix a Broken Heart bottle. And finally, the map. Okay, so guidance for the divine feminine. The golden egg is about to hatch. Remember, the golden egg is something very valuable, very special, very rare. And the message here is that you may feel quite alone and alienated in this ascension and growth that you're going through. It's very common when you move past that chasing energy into union with self. You have a higher perspective. It's like being a tall oak among saplings. And it can feel very isolating and lonely to be able to perceive the world in a way that others can't. And so the message here is to find your soul tribe. You're not the only person, you know, that has this golden egg energy, even though it might be less common. It feels like sometimes you feel judged or envied by your peer group, and that can be really hard, that you don't have any friends that can truly understand the shifts you're experiencing. And so, you know, there is a message there to kind of reach out into your community and find other happy souls that are on a similar stage of their journey. This slimy energy here is really interesting. We see all of these frogs, but we see this lady with a veil on, and she's kind of neck deep in this slime. And for me, this is really indicative of the low vibrational circumstances that still surround you, your ability to shield yourself from it, but also to recognize the gifts in all of this discomfort. Remember, frogs are a symbol of creation and fertility, and there's 5 of them here, sorry, 6 of them, which is the number of love. And this is reminding you that, you know, even conditional love, when it presents in your zone of awareness, helps us to learn who we really are. And even though it's very triggering, you know how to guard yourself from it now. Sometimes we have to stop trying to fix people and to show up. That's not the word. It's not about showing up. We can't fix people. And sometimes we just have to accept them as they are. We can't remove them from our zone of awareness. This could refer to family, but I think it connects to your divine masculine as well. You know, the message here is to try and grin and bear some of this stuff. By all means, you need to insert healthy boundaries and to take control of what's good for you. But sometimes it's about learning to tolerate others lovingly, recognizing that they're giving as much as they can give, that they're showing up in the way they can, and that you can lead by example. You don't have to keep trying to change these people and getting frustrated when they don't see your point of view. The sword again is about truth, and remember you had the King of Swords come up. This is number 77, which 7s are divine numbers, but when they connect it's 14, again reducing to 5, the energy of transformation. And the message is here is remember that it's the truth that sets you free. Your ability to speak authentically is what has liberated you from all of these ugly feelings that you've been experiencing in the past. You're being asked to recognize that not everyone else can do that, and that you don't have to judge them, that you can find a way to tolerate and cope with the slime and the unpleasantness that you encounter there. In every moment, the universe is conspiring to bring me towards right-minded thinking and the energy of love. And yes, it is. And look at the colours here. You know, these are 5-dimensional colours, pinks and purples. They all connect to the higher chakras and our connection to source and spirit. And look at that. I am connected. And this is a very twinny image here. You know, this twin flame image showing up. You're always connected to your person. You understand that now. You're never really separated, but you're also connected to this infinite flow of love. And you know now that the universe is always conspiring to move you in the direction that serves you. You've been shown miracle after miracle. You've moved away from this other relationship because you've moved into this very powerful creation energy of, you know, the divine feminine empress energy. You know, you are ready to win. And you trust that now. You trust in your connection to source. You trust in the connection to your person, which is why you're so comfortable to step away when it's imbalanced. And you're being asked to stay in that energy, to remember that always, even when you wobble and fall out of balance, and you may come to doubt this. So many foxes for your divine masculine. As I said, they are desperate to get control. This is a yellow card as well, the colour of the solar plexus. This is very triggered energy. And we've got alchemy here and inside looking out. You know, the guidance for your divine masculine is to get out there into the world and start living. They have kept themselves away for so long, is what I'm feeling. Alchemy is the energy of temperance. We've got 2 6s here. Remember, 6 is the number of unconditional love. It is represented in the Lover's card in tarot, but also, you know, in the energy of the devil. You know, that's the distorted conditional love. And so what's happening here is we see one reaching across through this rainbow of light with all of this divine empress energy, the 3 stars here, to comfort and bring the other forward. The guidance of the masculine with this inside looking out energy is to allow yourself to cross over. It's similar to what we saw with this Page of Wands fox. Grasp the wand. The love and support that you need is there for you if only you can come out of your shell. You know, you've got to start looking outside of self and not being so tangled up in their own mind. You know, the truth is out there if they're brave enough to seek it and to move towards it. In any moment, I can surrender to the powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation and stillness. And this is blue energy. There's a lot of shadow here, but this is the energy of truth. Painful, hard truth. You know, they can surrender to this. And the message here from the personal power deck, I'm authentic. They have to learn to be real. They have to learn to be vulnerable. You know, being authentic requires us to take a risk, because when we give people the truth, often they can use that information to hurt us. And so authenticity is born of the confidence that we can cope with whatever the response is, because we've learned to approve of and validate self. Because we are no longer reliant on the approval or validation of others, it liberates us to be authentic. And this is what your masculine is struggling with, because they feel too vulnerable. So the guidance for them is to step up and realize how liberating it is to surrender to that, you know, to move towards the energy, and that if they can meet it halfway, they will only find love and support and peace. So many charms for you here. I'm really drawn to this one first. I'm a stupid baby. You know, your person really does. Remember, we had all this page energy for them as well. They feel so immature in the face of your growth. You know, they do feel this huge disparity has opened up between you, this huge gulf. And all of a sudden, you being in this golden egg energy, this tall oak amongst saplings, they kind of feel looked down upon. It's triggered all of their masculine, macho sensibilities. And they're really struggling, you know, to feel strong and confident in their energy. You were already strong. You were already confident. You were already intimidating. Now, you know, they just feel like an absolute loser. They feel immature. They feel unprepared. And we see them here, you know, there's a lot of energy suggesting that they're using music, you know, to work through this. Music is very important to this person, you know, indulging all of their woe with these sad songs. This to me is someone that is also using unhealthy coping mechanisms, probably alcohol, you know, to fix that pain, to ease that rejection trigger. Very, very powerful energies here. We've got two charms that have the aeroplane. The little map features that aeroplane as well. Now, you know, the map always shows us that you're moving towards the green energy, the heart chakra. But at the moment, it's in kind of in no man's land. You know, the heart chakras are not aligned. There needs to be some revisiting of the past to untangle that confused energy, which allows you both to move forward. And I think this is the difficult conversations, the truthful conversations that need to come up, that need to be addressed by the feminine. And this is really about kind of explaining where the obstacles are in a very loving and compassionate way, so the journey can continue to move forward. The crown, you know, this is always about tremendous spiritual growth, access to a higher power, and again with this white charm symbolizing purity, truth, and that connection to source, the faith that everything will be okay. And the rainbow suggests the same. The rainbow is always a symbol of hope. Now, remember I said at the beginning, there is a bit of a sad energy here because you thought there'd be that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You're being reminded, you know, that the energies need two people to balance it. It doesn't mean the pot of gold will always be there. So it will always not be there. It just means it's not there now because the energy isn't whole. And you kind of rush towards this point of surrender, expecting it would lead to union energy, not realizing that you now have to balance your masculine energies and that they have to balance theirs. And so that's where the kind of disappointment lies. You know, there's a bit of an energy of, oh God, more, really? But actually, if you release that frustration, what you're left with is comfort. You're feeling great. You don't desperately long for or yearn for this connection anymore. And even though it's kind of sad to let it go, there is power and pleasure in that because you no longer feel so pained by it. There's something you still need to investigate here about the past. And I'm really drawn to connect both of these charms with this friends don't lie. And I think that maybe you have tiptoed round these issues in terms of how you're feeling because you're concerned that your masculine's ego is too fragile to hear it. But remember, you've got two cards about truth and authenticity. The message is the same for your person. They're also being guided towards truth, showing up authentically. And, you know, if you're going to maintain this connection with any integrity, at some point, you're going to have to find a way to communicate tactfully, diplomatically and compassionately how you're really feeling and what the next step of this journey means, and to trust. The universe is always conspiring to bring you towards the right-minded thinking and the energy of love, the connection that supports you in doing that. I really hope that helps part one. I'm going to take this over to the extended now. So if this resonated for you, you can find me over there. The link is in the description box below, and we're going to go much deeper. We're going to get message cards. We're going to get more information about how they're each feeling and thinking about each other and what's blocking the energies right now. So hopefully I'll see you over there. But if not, thank you so much for joining me here. It's such a pleasure to do these readings for you. And I want to send a big thanks to those of you that have been watching my commercials. I've noticed a huge uptick in that, and it's such a perfect energy exchange. You know, a minute of your time for these free readings. Thank you so much. I appreciate your generosity. And for those of you that send me donations and decks, helps keep my channel going. And I'm so grateful to you. It really does make me feel so valued and special as well. The comments and the likes that you leave me just make my day. So thank you so much for being here and sharing this with me. Don't forget to check out my website. You can find me at happysouls1111.com. I've got one class still available to book at the moment, which is Twin Flame Energy Healing. And you can also book Spirit Release Therapy with me. So I will see you next time. Lots of love, part 1. Bye. Hello, part 2. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Vagabond Wild Tarot and this lovely piece of rose quartz. And we are asking today, what is going on in this connection? We're going to go really deep with this. What's really going on between you? What's the truth of this connection? In this reading, we look at both energies. We look at the energies of the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine. We're looking to see how they're presently showing up, how they're thinking and feeling about each other, and what's shifting for each of them. And of course, plenty of guidance. There will be an extended today. We're going to pull oracle cards and charms as well. So stay tuned. We're going to get all the details. We're going to go super in depth. And if it resonates, you can find the link for the extended in the description box below. Now, I do use 3 decks for this reading. For the Divine... Sorry, still shuffling. Let me put these back. For the Divine Feminine energies, I'm using this deck here that you've chosen. Give them one more riffle shuffle. Oh, they're so slippy slidey, these cards. So that's for the Divine Feminine energies. For the Divine Masculine energies, I'm using this deck. This is the Naked Heart Tarot. If you're interested in what decks I'm using, you can always find them listed in the description box below. And for the connecting energies down the middle, we are going to use a 3rd deck. So we're looking at the individual energies of each counterpart and the connecting energies, the bit in the middle, what happens as a result of how each of them is showing up, thinking, feeling, and so forth. So for the connecting energies, we're using the High Tarot. This deck was designed by a friend of mine. It's independently created. It's also doubles as an oracle deck. It's beautiful to handle. And Dan Francis, who created this deck, is illustrating my oracle deck, which will be out very soon. Watch this space. Very excited to share it with you. Right, so just a heads up, when I do these readings, I do refer to the Divine Feminine as she and the Divine Masculine as he. However, they are not gender specific readings. Please adjust the gender pronouns as you see fit. I use the she and he because honestly, when I channel, I get confused when I'm saying they or them. Sometimes I forget. It just helps you to know which counterpart I'm referring to, but they're not gender specific. In your case, it might be she, he, she, whatever works for you. Please just adjust it. Okay, so hold your person in mind. Ask for a sign if that feels appropriate to you. A sign just helps you anchor or validate the message. It gives spirit an opportunity to give you that sign to reassure you which messages are meant for you. Remember, these are general readings, so they're not going to resonate 100% for everyone. Make sure you take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Don't try and make it fit. And when you ask for a sign, you can ask for anything. It can be, you know, an animal, a place, a phrase, a symbol, an object, numbers, whatever works to you. Okay, so what are the current energies for our Divine Feminine? What's really happening in this connection? Let's have a look. For Divine Feminine, okay, we're going to keep those because they're fallen over. We've got Page of Wands in reverse, and we've got the Queen of Cups, and we've got the Ace of Cups in reverse. And how is this Divine Feminine thinking and feeling about her counterpart and the connection? We've got Strength. We've got the 9 of Cups, and we've got the 2 of Wands. And what's shifting for this Divine Feminine? We've got Judgment in reverse. We've got the High Priestess and the 3 of Swords in reverse. Okie dokie. Let's see what we've got for the masculine. Current energies for the Divine Masculine. The 3 of Pentacles, the 8 of Swords in reverse, and the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. Just move these over slightly and make space. There we go. How is the Divine Masculine thinking and feeling? We've got the Queen of Swords in reverse, the 5 of Pentacles, and the 4 of Swords in reverse. What's shifting for the Divine Masculine? Wow. Queen of Cups in reverse, that wanted to come out. The Ace of Swords and the 8 of Cups. And to get the connecting energies down the middle with the High Tarot. You can still pick up a first edition of this deck, but I believe they're almost sold out. I don't know if Dan plans to release another one. So grab it while you can. Link is in the description box below. Connecting energies, 8 of Pentacles in reverse, the B. Connecting feelings and thoughts is the Magician in reverse, called the Altar in this deck. And what's shifting is the Devil in reverse. So I'm going to get some oracle cards and charms, but let's start with what's out on the table first. Okay. So let's start with our Divine Feminine. We've got the Page of Wands in reverse, the Queen of Cups and the Ace of Cups. This is a Divine Feminine that's in a lot of pain. They've come to the awareness that they might be experiencing a very spiritual connection, and there's a great deal of emotion here, raging out of control, very painful emotion, and it clouds everything. It's so very hard to see or perceive the situation clearly because this Divine Feminine is so in her feels. With the Ace of Cups in reverse, you know, this demonstrates that there is strong chaser energy here. This is someone who doesn't have enough love inside them for themselves. There's a great deal of self-loathing. This is a Divine Feminine that just wants to be loved. You know, she doesn't understand why a healthy, happy relationship has eluded her for so long. And she doesn't understand why this situation is so complicated, why she feels so strongly and why she can't let go. So there's a great deal of frustrated energy here. You know, this is someone who cares very deeply and just wants that care to be reciprocated, understandably. But she's also really struggling to align with the idea that this is a spiritual connection. She doesn't know what that means for her. She doesn't understand why this relationship has to be so complicated. Why is there this runner-chaser dynamic? Why can't they just resolve it? Why can't it just be normal? It's really, really tired, exhausted energies, you know, and all I'm hearing here is I just want to be loved. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of getting tangled up in these toxic situations and of not being treated right. I just want to be loved. So this is a Divine Feminine that's hurting. And, you know, with this Page of Wands in reverse, she doesn't know what to do next. She doesn't know where to go next. She doesn't know what action needs to be taken to resolve this situation. She feels so very stuck and so very frustrated that she can't release this. So very frustrated that she, you know, she's still feeling this magnetism, because her logical mind knows that this isn't a good situation to be in right now. She knows that you know, she's not communicating in a way that's productive, and yet she doesn't know how to restrain herself from these emotional depths that keep overwhelming her and feeding into her experience. So this is definitely a Divine Feminine that's needing right now. And as is always the case in these situations, the masculine feels that. What's really lovely about this is that this masculine does want to show up. We've got the 3 of Pentacles here. Now, there may be a work connection between both of you. This could be someone at work, and that makes it even more painful because you have to kind of collaborate with them or face them on a daily basis. This person really values the connection with the Divine Feminine, but they are very confused themselves about what's happening, and they're very resistant and reluctant to open themselves up here. And it feels like there's possibly not been, you know, any kind of full disclosure in this connection. The masculine is over here quite confused. You know, with the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, we do see that he's in fairly avoidant energy. You know, he's not looking for a relationship. This is someone that's in the energy of taking care of themselves, they're career focused, and they love collaborating with the divine feminine. It definitely feels like there's a work situation here. If that doesn't resonate for you, you could be collaborating on something else. This could be a shared friendship group, or a project that you're working on, or a community initiative that you're both involved in. But for sure, this person enjoys the interactions, but they're not seeing the truth of the situation, and they're not entirely aware of the depth of the divine feminine's feelings. The 8 of Pentacles in reverse as a connecting energy is really revealing, because this shows us that the current energies, that it's just not working. You know, the energy here is both chaser and runner, and that's an imbalance. It just means they bounce backwards and forwards without making any progress. It's a loop that we get stuck in. And this divine masculine, I'm hearing, is somewhat emotionally reserved and not necessarily very emotionally aware or observant. So they really don't understand how impactful the interactions they have with the divine feminine are, and how much they can disturb her peace of mind and her flow. They're not trying to be deliberately difficult or avoidant. They just don't recognize how much this divine feminine actually cares. And so, you know, taking into account that this divine feminine isn't aware of the spiritual context of this relationship, I feel kind of responsible for explaining it in a nutshell. Now, there is an article on my website about twin flames. You can find it under the Return to One section, that I strongly recommend you read to get an understanding of it. But in these connections, what happens is that both parties trigger one another to grow and heal. And whilst we move into this connection with lots of romantic ideals, it's far from being a normal romantic relationship. This connection is designed to help us grow into our true selves and to embody the love that already resides within us. And so this Ace of Cups coming up in reverse here is really revealing. It's drawing to this divine feminine's attention that you have to learn to love yourself. You can't receive love from anyone else until you learn to give it to yourself. This is your life mission. This is what you're being called to do. And I know it's frustrating, and that you resent it, and that you just want to have a normal relationship, and that, you know, this is the energy of, oh, but why? Why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to learn these lessons? Why can't I just have a normal relationship like everyone else? And my darling, this is because you're divine. Because you're worth so much more than some bog standard, unhealthy, toxic relationship. Look around you. How many people do you really see that are in these romantic, ideal, perfect relationships? Most people don't have the access to the learning that's required to achieve that, but you do. You are being guided to true divine love. So even though it feels like a curse right now because it's that much more challenging, this challenge actually presents you with the opportunity to fulfill the greatest loving potential possible. And even though it's not easy, you are going to have something more meaningful and more special as a result of this. So try and resist the urge to resent and reject what this connection means, and recognize that it's a gift. It's a gift that guides you back to yourself. It's not easy, and I understand this. I feel your pain right now, but genuinely, your person has no clue as to the depths of your feelings. You know, they really are not in the energy of even looking for a relationship right now. And even though there's an attraction here and they really enjoy your company, you know, that to their mind, a relationship is not something that's on their agenda right now. In terms of how they're thinking and feeling about one another, the lineup here for the divine feminine is quite beautiful. Her feelings are strong. You know, when she is with this person, she feels, it's such a contradictory energy, because I want to say that she feels more of herself. She feels like she's her true self when she's with this person, but that's also a terrifying energy. And because she's used to behaving in different ways, she doesn't recognize that this connection actually enables her to embody that truth. It just feels uncomfortable and scary. But there's also this energy here of certainty. You know, she does understand that she has no choice but to show up in this connection, because the magnetism, the pull is so strong, you know, and so there's a really decisive, I know this is for me energy that she just can't shake. And that's what's so frustrating, because she feels the rightness of this connection so strongly, and so she doesn't understand why the masculine doesn't feel it or show that he feels it too. It makes her feel crazy. Is it just me over here feeling all of this depth and this powerful connection? Why isn't this person, you know, recognizing and identifying that and showing up in a way which evidences their, you know, that they feel that connection? So this divine feminine feels very strong, very sure, never felt more sure of anything in her life. And I'm hearing that this longing energy that she's in for this person is very out of character for this divine feminine. You've not been needy or codependent before, and so it's even harder to face these energies because they trigger all of your pride centers, they trigger your ego. You know, you don't want to be that needy person, and so you're finding this so very frustrating, you know, because you feel like you're out of control, like your own free will has been snatched from you, and that you're kind of stuck in this energy of longing for something you can't have. It's a very frustrated energy. The masculine, I'm sorry to say, he just doesn't feel much at all. You know, it's not that they don't have feelings for you, it's that they are disconnected from their ability to feel. You know, this person hasn't recovered from a very significant betrayal in their past. We've got the Queen of Swords here in the reverse, we've got the Five of Pentacles, we've got the Four of Swords in reverse. These are all energies that indicate a lack of recovery, a great deal of resentment and bitterness, and a deep-rooted fear of rejection and abandonment. This person sees you as risky. It's not because you've demonstrated risky behaviors, but because they don't trust love. They don't trust relationships, and they're not ready for this. And so their energy may feel very cold. It may feel like they're not interested at all. And the message here is it's not the case that they're not interested in you. It's the case that they are not interested in love. As a result of this, the connecting energies is that both people feel very disempowered. You know, they don't know how to navigate this. It feels like the masculine has an inkling that there might be some interest here, but they're very frustrated that this is interfering with their ability to show up in a platonic and friendly way. They don't know how to act. And so any avoidance is the result of that intensity, you know, and they try desperately not to think about it. This is someone that's really not ready to face love, and they're not ready to open their heart. What's really lacking in this whole reading is emotion. You know, we've only got two cards here that are representative of emotion. One of them is reversed, and the other is about running away from emotion. So you must not underestimate how incapable this person is of meeting you halfway and demonstrating their feelings. But you've also got to recognize that your feelings should not dictate how you interact in this. It is possible to rise above them. It is possible to transmute the hard energies that you're facing. But both parties are feeling very disempowered, and like this situation feels impossible. I do think that your person over here, as I said, has left a very traumatic relationship. They may have had a family with someone, gone through a divorce, you know, or been betrayed in some powerful way. The Five of Pentacles is a very strong energy of rejection. And remember, we say diamonds are forever. And in this one, the diamonds are broken. You know, it's literally cracked in two. What they thought was going to be forever wasn't. And they were left out in the cold. So, and, you know, pearls as well. We see this broken pearl necklace here. Pearls are representative of gifts, emotional gifts. And for me, that shows as that part of them being broken. You know, that when this relationship they were in broke down, they lost their ability to interact at an emotional level. Their heart shut down on them. And they haven't found their way back there yet. It's too painful. They haven't recovered. There's too much bitterness here. You know, there's so much bitterness, so much resentment, so much pain. And so neither party right now is ready to have a relationship. So, you know, this isn't that no one cares or no one's interested. It's just that the energies aren't balanced to allow for it to happen. In terms of what's shifting, You know, this is really interesting. We see this divine feminine with judgment reverse. Now, judgment reverse can often indicate that dark night of the soul. It's when we refuse to answer the call of our soul, the ego begins to dissolve, and the resistance that presents when we, you know, when we are frightened to acknowledge the call of our soul can be very, very painful. This divine feminine is definitely opening up her awareness to spirit. Not intentionally so. This is something that's happening for her, and it's very, very frightening. And the reason being is because to open ourselves up that way, to elevate ourselves above the ego, requires us to face our own pain. And this divine feminine has her own heartbreak to contend with. She has also been very, very hurt. And also, like the masculine, she hasn't recovered from that pain. That heartbreak still feeds in to how she interacts with and feels about her world and the people around her. And so what we see is this divine feminine not being quite ready to embrace her own divinity and spirituality, but nonetheless being triggered relentlessly by spirit. This is someone that's receiving so many signs, so many synchronicities, so many messages from the divine to say, hey, pay attention. This is happening for you. And the sooner you embrace the energy of this journey, the sooner you can move forward and find peace. But you have to answer the call of your soul. You know, this is about your ascension and your growth. Remember, it can't be all about romance. Divine feminine, the message here is that to have what you want the most, which is a healthy, loving, balanced relationship, you have to give yourself healthy, balanced love. You have to find that emotional balance within you. You have to find that love within you so that you can embody that energy and therefore express it in an authentic way and attract the relationship you need and deserve. Right now, you are your own worst enemy. This person has triggered all of your pain. They have triggered all of your weaknesses that have been long buried. You know, the codependent streaks in you that you refuse to acknowledge because your ego wouldn't allow you to accept that you could be in that energy. So determined were you to be the queen bitch, the hard to get energy, no one's going to pull the wool over my eyes again, that when you found yourself propelled into this codependent energy, you know, you're fighting it. You don't want to accept this about yourself, but you've got to be honest with yourself. It's the ability to be honest with yourself, the ability for introspection that's going to liberate you from the discomfort you're feeling. Again, what's shifting for your person? This is just more avoidance. I'm sorry to tell you, but this person isn't ready to show up in an emotional way. You know, they are beginning to recognize the truth of this connection in terms of there being an attraction. You know, the Ace of Swords is the energy of truth. This is awareness creeping in, the seed being planted. Why am I always thinking about this person? You know, I don't feel anything because my heart's shut down, but why is this person always popping into my head? Why can I not move an inch without bumping into some thought of them? They think about you too. And there is an attraction there, but their heart doesn't engage to allow it to come to fruition. And this Queen of Cups in reverse shows us, you know, for all the divine feminine offering this love, you know, feeling it all flowing, the masculine has a lid on that cup. The energy is blocked, but they are beginning to recognize the truth. But again, with this Eight of Cups, this is someone that's walking away. This is someone that's recognizing that they are not equipped to deal with the emotional intensity that's being presented here. They're turning away from it. They're not ready to face it. The connecting energy is the Devil in reverse. This is conditional love. And this is a very firm message. This reminds us that when love is conditional, loaded with expectation, need, and avoidance and codependence, that it can't come to fruition. You know, neither party is ready to release the energy they are in. In the case of this divine feminine, codependence. In the case of this divine masculine, avoidance. Neither one of them yet has the skills and tools they need to navigate and resolve these energies, because both of them are resisting doing that. And so while this divine feminine is really frustrated that the masculine just isn't waking up to this connection, why doesn't he see we're meant for each other? You know, why can't he let his guard down? The divine feminine doesn't realize that they are actually mirroring one another. that her own resistance towards changing that energy and figuring it out and developing the tools and skills necessary to move forward inhibits her masculine from doing the same. You know, you have to lead by example in this connection. When you start focusing on yourself and resolving your own energies, you create space for the masculine to do the same. Because as your energies come into balance, theirs start to be triggered to do the same. So what we see here is two people that are just really lost in this. You know, lost from themselves, both in pain, both hurting, both dealing with it in very, very different ways. So let's get some more cards out here. What is this divine feminine not acknowledging about her person? We've got the Three of Pentacles. It's so interesting that came up for him as well. The Four of Cups in reverse and the Empress. And what is the divine masculine not acknowledging about this divine feminine? We've got Temperance. We've got Justice. And we've got the Page of Cups in reverse. And what's the connecting energy here? The Ten of Pentacles in reverse again. Okay. So this divine feminine is not acknowledging that the connection needs to be what it is. Whatever this collaboration, teamwork or interaction is that you have, you know, that's the part that is currently holding you together, and you're being asked to appreciate what is. You know, you're not seeing that your person genuinely does value, respect and enjoy your company. They have, you know, put you on a pedestal. They hold you in very high esteem. They do value who you are. They like who you are. It's just that they are not emotionally engaged in that at the moment. With the Four of Cups in reverse, and I want to show you this card because we see here this person looking in the mirror. Bearing in mind it's reversed, and what I said about how you're mirroring each other in your reluctance to face yourselves and face your pain, they're not yet able to do that. They're not able to face their pain that, you know, unlocks the heart and gives them an opportunity to love again. The Empress. Now, this is a pregnant Empress. You know, this suggests to me that there is this relationship in the background. Perhaps there's children involved here. This could be connected to their own mother or to a mother they were romantically involved with. But for sure, there is a blockage here. We had that Ten of Pentacles in reverse. This is either a deep mother wound, and that betrayal and family breakdown we discussed was connected to the childhood rather than their present. But either way, there is a deep wound here connected to maternal energy that they are still trying to navigate. There's so much karma as well on the divine feminine side that the masculine is also triggering healing from. And we've got two images here representing scales. Now, Temperance is all about harmony and balance and alchemy. It's the energy of the twins as well. You know, when you have both energies in perfect balance, there's wholeness. And so the fact that the divine masculine is not acknowledging this really demonstrates that he is unaware of the depths of this connection, and that there is karma at play here that keeps him from seeing that truth. He's also not seeing that this divine feminine has a crush or is interested. He genuinely doesn't see that. You know, this divine feminine has clearly been, you know, very discreet in how she's handled this situation. And so the masculine isn't entirely certain how she feels, or that she holds all of this interest and depth of feeling for him. But what they're both not acknowledging with this Ten of Pentacles in reverse is that now is not the time for union energy. There is a huge blockage and resistance here that's presented by the universe, and not necessarily just by the individual. You know, no one is to blame. It's just the case that the energies aren't balanced and that this can't happen right now. Big energies for you. Let's get some oracle cards as well. Big energies for you. And divine feminine, I just want to reassure you, you've got this, okay? There's so many of us that have been at this stage of the journey, so many of us that are still navigating our way through it, and I just want to reassure you that you can do this. You can get through this, and it's going to be okay. Okay, so we've got loss and we've got divine flow. That's so very interesting. Both of these came out, I believe, in part 1. We've got freedom and awakening from the Iris Oracle. We've got Mysterious Mother. Be free, do what you love. For the masculine, we've got Spirits to guide you. And the Heart Eater. And I'm going to get an animal for each of them as well. We've got Fire Ant for the Divine Feminine. Tiger for the masculine. And for the guidance cards, this is the Universe Has Your Back deck. We've got My Fearless Freedom Lights Up the World. And for the masculine, my happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. And from the Personal Power deck, I am hopeful and I am passionate. Okay, and some charms as well. Give them a really good mix, and then I'm going to dig in. Okay, we've got quite a few here. We've got the Three of Swords again. We've got the Police car. We've got It's Too Peoply Outside. The Empty Battery. The Game Boy. The Crown. The Aeroplane. IPHM. This comes up such a lot lately. I'll explain it in a moment. This little tiny heart with little feet on it. Remember we had that pregnancy card there. The Sun. And keep going, keep growing. Divine Feminine, this won't apply to all of you, but for some of you, if you do work with this person and it's been such a struggle, you may be tempted to move on, to find somewhere else to work. And the guidance is for you to seriously reconsider that. There's a lot of creative passion and positive teamwork in this dynamic that you can use to fulfill your greatest potential. You're exactly where you meant to be. And even though it's very triggering and very hard, I'm hearing that this is triggering your growth and that you should really try and roll with it if you're able to. Loss. Sometimes you learn true offering through loss. You make a passionate invitation for love to take over and bring her own plan instead of the ego's. And what this means is that you've got to let divine timing do the work for you. Invite the divine to take over and to bring forward their plan instead of what your ego wants. This is about facing what you can't have, coming to terms with how things are and accepting what is, rather than, being so frustrated that you can't have what you want. It's that frustration that's blocking you. You're being asked to get into the divine flow. Eventually, one sublime desire takes precedence over all others. To follow the Tao, the divine flow at all costs. Trust in the divine plan. I know that you're not a spiritual person, Divine Feminine. In fact, that's not true. I think you very comfortably acknowledge other people's spirituality and divinity and you believe in it, but you don't believe in your own. And you're very frustrated to find that, your journey is meant to be spiritual. It's almost like you don't want to be that woo-woo weirdo doing spiritual stuff. And I get that, but you don't have to step into that label. You don't have to suddenly start wearing hippie clothes and adorning yourself with crystals and playing with tarot cards and showing up with your Reiki drum. You can still be who you are and you can handle this situation privately. I'd also encourage you to reach out to my community. I've got a Facebook page that's especially for people going through this, a place where they can gather and support one another. We've got lots of cards coming up about mothering, mysterious mother, and again, this indicates perhaps there was a pregnancy between you two, or there's a pregnancy over here, but actually I'm thinking that this is deep inner child wounds connected to babyhood for both of you, and that there's a need here to mother yourself. You didn't receive the love you needed as a child, and you're now feeling the truth of the impact of that. all of that energy that you've avoided, the longing, the yearning, the codependence, the energy you didn't want to acknowledge, is all coming up for healing. And it was born of this mother wound. Be free and do what you love. You know, find the light. Stop making decisions based on how other people will perceive or judge you. You know, stay hopeful. You know, you've got to trust in the energy of this connection, trust in the divine flow, trust spirit to take the lead. You've got two energies here about love and light and freedom. My fearless freedom lights up the world, and be free to do what you love. These are strong messages to allow yourself to release the harsh judgments of your past, the conditioning. Perhaps there's some kind of religious beliefs that inhibit you from aligning with the context of what this journey presents. You're being asked to recognize that religions are all roads leading to the same place, rivers leading into the same ocean. You know, they're all about love. They're all about light. They're all about being our best selves. And, you know, it's okay to deviate from that slightly when it's for such a good cause. You're pursuing light, you're pursuing love, you're pursuing your own happiness and your joy, you're pursuing your healing. There is no shame in that. It doesn't contradict whatever you've, you know, believed about the good Lord, or whatever your religious stuff is. There's a strong message here to be fearless and to find freedom in your beliefs, rather than attaching yourself too firmly to the dogma and the judgments of others, you know, and to remain hopeful. Masculine in this tiger energy, this is hunter, predator energy. You know, this masculine certainly has their eyes on you in a very sexual way. Physically, they're very inspired to interact with you, but because of the boundaries that exist in this connection between you, again, that might be work for some of you, it doesn't feel appropriate for them to pounce. Freedom has also come up for them, and this is really interested. I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good. Release me from its bonds. So, you know, you too are triggering them to face their own blockages. You know, they are going through the same level of intensity as you. They're just emotionally detached in their experience of it, but they are waking up. You know, oh my Lord, wake me from life as a spiritual sheep. May I hear you through my own instincts and common sense. I'm hearing for some of you that this connection is actually through the church, or through your cultural or religious community. And so, you know, there may be something else blocking you here because it feels immoral or wrong. There's definitely a blockage here. You know, they're saying, release me from life as a spiritual sheep. Now, a sheep is someone that follows the shepherd. They don't question. They don't feel into it for their own truth. They just blindly follow. And they're learning to hear things through their own instincts and common sense, which is also what the divine feminine is being guided to do. Again, so much mirroring here. You're both being catapulted into these new energies, you know, towards evolution, just in very different ways. And spirit is constantly guiding and triggering them too. They see the signs. They feel the weirdness. They just don't acknowledge it with the same emotion that you do, but they're having the same experience. But look at this, the heart eater. And this is number 13. You know, this is connected to death energy. You know, the resurrection. When our heart's been eaten and we regurgitate and it all comes back up broken and chewed, there's a lot of work to be done to repair it here. This person is very passionate about you. Again, with this tiger, you know, this person feels that passion and that spark, but there's shame attached to that. They feel it's wrong and that there's no opportunity for themselves to act upon it. My happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. This is beautiful guidance for them as well. You know, I do think your person has the capacity for spiritual exploration and introspection. And so this is half the battle won for you. Not many divine masculines come into this journey with spiritual awareness, but it feels like your person does have faith in spirit, and they are noticing all the same signs and things. They're just not connecting dots in the same way you are because of that absence of emotion. Now, the charms here are super revealing. The Three of Swords has come up again for this divine feminine. And remember, this is unresolved pain. Remember, it was coming up in reverse here. The pain that you don't want to face. The pain that you thought you were so strong and could carry around for the rest of your life. Spirit's reminding you that it's like shitting in your water and then wondering why it tastes bad. You know, when we carry pain, it filters into everything we do. It poisons everything because we see everything through that dirty lens that the pain created. You know, you're being asked to finally address this. And I know you're running on an empty tank. And this is because you're not taking care of yourself. You know, when the Ace of Cups comes up in reverse, it shows us that you're not giving yourself the love that you deserve. You're being asked to be aware of how you communicate with yourself, what that inner dialogue is telling you. I'm not good enough. You know, I don't get a relationship because I'm not worth it. No one loves me enough. I'm never going to have that. It's not going to work out for me. You know, you've got to be aware of how you drain yourself with this really negative self-talk. This for me indicates some kind of social anxiety, and obviously this video is brought to you in times of a pandemic. And the police card that comes up here, I never read it this way, but there's some kind of betrayal and pain and resentment connected to the energy of this police card. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of judgment that you're holding on to, some kind of resentment, some kind of mistrust of other people, this idea that other people are bad and can't be trusted, even people that are here to help you. Answer the call of your soul. You know, your crown is exploding in every direction right now, inviting you into a new era, inviting you to turn the page and step into a new chapter so that you can start to evolve and create the change you want. The Game Boy, you know, this is the energy you've previously been in Divine Feminine. It made you feel strong to play the game harder than the guys played it. It made you feel in control and empowered. It made you feel safe. But those tactics aren't working for you anymore. This person's triggered something deeper, which is forcing you to address the insecurities and fear that lay at the root of these strategic games you like to play. When IPHM comes up, this is actually an institution that accredits holistic practitioners. This is why I have it. I'm accredited, all my qualifications and whatnot have been accredited by IPHM. But when this comes up, you know, it's usually indicative of some kind of service, and I feel like both of you may work in a very altruistic or charitable way. Again, there's a suggestion of maybe church or work here that is, you know, for the greater good of mankind. There's something very charitable and loving about the energy that is here, and you two have a special mission to work together in that respect that's bigger than what is occurring now. You've done that already in the past. You know, you two have lived many times together, helping the world to grow, bringing in your light, illuminating the truth of loving energy. And again, in this lifetime, you're being called to embody unconditional love, to help anchor the energy in the earth's grid. But in order to do that, you have to learn it for yourself again. And it's just about remembering. I'm hearing you've already achieved this in your past life. You know, you're coming back to do it again, this time with your person, but you've already worked together many times and you've already grown and, you know, embodied that energy of self-love. You're just being called to remember who you are. Keep going, keep growing. Trust that love will bloom again and that this is all worthwhile. And again, you know, this charm, it will be different for each of you, you know, that are watching this. For some of you, this will be connected to the inner child pain, the trauma in babyhood that perhaps you don't remember and may need to be resolved through regression therapy. But for others, there could be a very genuine obstacle here pertaining to young children, or connection from either one of you to young children that you need to pay attention to. I'm going to take this over to the extended now, where we'll go deeper. We're going to get messages from each counterpart. If this has resonated for you, you can find the link to that video in the description box below. Hopefully I'll see you there. But thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. Tell me which part you picked and how it resonated for you or not. I love to hear your feedback. And a big shout out and thanks to those very generous souls that take the time to watch my commercials, to send in donations or decks. You guys are so very generous, and I appreciate it so much. It really does help to keep my channel going. So thank you. It's the most generous and gracious energy exchange, and I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to check out my website. You can still book a twin flame healing class with me. I've just added more availability, and that will help you understand the basics of twin flame energy and how it works between you, which can give you a lot of clarity in how to resolve your situation and the healing practices that might work for you. You can find all the info on my website. You can also book spirit release clearings with me at the moment. So check out happysouls1111.com. I will see you next time. Lots of love. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Modern Witch Tarot and this lovely piece of rainbow fluorite. And we are asking today, what is really going on between you and your person? What is the truth of this connection? We're going to go really deep with this. We're going to get all of the details, all of the things you're not aware of that you need to know for the highest good of this connection. Now, when I do these readings, I look at the energies of both counterparts, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. If you're not sure which one you are, just see which energy, which side you relate to. It's not important to know in advance. You'll soon figure it out as the reading moves forward. Divine masculine, divine feminine energies aren't gender specific. You know, a man can hold divine feminine energies and a woman can hold divine masculine energies. In your situation, it might be he, she, whatever works for you. I do use 3 decks in this reading, and we're looking at the energies of each counterpart presently, you know, how you're showing up and how that affects the connection. We're looking at how you're each thinking and feeling about one another, and we look at what's shifting for both of you, as well as bringing forward guidance. There will be an extended today, and as I said, we use 3 decks. So for the divine feminine, I'm going to use the deck you've chosen. For the divine masculine, we're going to use this deck. This is the Naked Heart Tarot. Just give these a good shuffle as well. And we're going to use another deck for the connecting energies, so we can see, you know, what these individual energies add up to in the middle of the connection. You know, what's the result of what each party is bringing to the equation. Now, you can ask the universe for a sign. Hold your person in mind. A sign is just, you know, a message from the universe that helps affirm what you're hearing, you know, helps you trust and validate what you're hearing, that it's meant for you. So you can ask for anything, an object, an animal, a phrase, numbers, whatever works for you. A symbol, there's no right or wrong sign to ask for. The deck I'm using for the connecting energies is the High Tarot. This was an independently created deck by a friend of mine, Dan Francis, and I'm very excited to share with you that Dan is actually illustrating my own oracle deck, which will be available soon. I'm very, very excited to share that, but you can still pick up a first edition of this deck. It also doubles as an oracle deck. It's a really very cool deck. I absolutely adore it, and it's a dream to shuffle. So these are our 3 decks. Let's start with the divine feminine energies. So we're going to start with, what are the current energies for the divine feminine? How is she showing up in this connection right now? What energy is she in? Okay, we've got the King of Pentacles in reverse, the 4 of Swords in reverse, and the 6 of Wands. And how is this divine feminine thinking and feeling about her counterpart? We've got the Magician in reverse, we've got the 2 of Swords, and we've got the Queen of Cups. And what's shifting for this divine feminine? We've got the 8 of Cups, we've got the 2 of Wands in reverse, and the 7 of Wands. Let's get the cards out. For the masculine, let's move these out of the way for a second. Current energies for the divine masculine, please. And also, whilst I do refer to the counterparts as she and he, as I said, in your situation, it might be she, he. Just adjust the gender pronouns as you see fit. In this particular reading, I find it very hard to remember the they, them. It is a weakness of mine. I do apologise. I try my best, but it's easy enough for you to just adjust the gender pronouns as you see fit. Okay, we've got the 4 of Cups in reverse, the Lovers in reverse, and the Moon in reverse. Lots of blocked energies for the divine masculine. This doesn't necessarily mean it's negative, so please don't panic. It's just another way of me revealing what's really going on. How's he feeling and thinking? We've got the 8 of Swords, the 8 of Cups in reverse, and the 5 of Swords. And what's shifting for this masculine? The Magician in reverse again, That's already come up for the feminine there. The Three of Wands in reverse. And the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. And what are the connecting energies here? So with the High Tarot, we've got the Lovers in reverse. For the connecting feelings, we've got the Devil in reverse. And for what's shifting, we've got the Three of Wands. So we're going to pull a ton of oracle cards and charms as well, but let's start with where we are on the table. Beginning with the Divine Feminine energy. This Divine Feminine's been single for a really long time. And this is a fairly new energy that's crept up on the Divine Feminine, but she's suddenly feeling the absence of a partner after being independent and strong for so very long. You know, this energy of, what is it? It's the energy of longing that is creeping in. It's a general feeling of tiredness and exhaustion. Why do I always have to take care of everything and everyone? Who is taking care of me? There's a lot of single parent energy here. It won't be relevant to all of you, but it's this energy of being so responsible for the care and feelings of others, but not really having anyone to look out for her. And really starting to feel the pinch with that, really starting to feel the absence of that supportive, dependable presence. And with the Four of Swords here in reverse, you know, this also reveals that there is a deep unhealed wound at the root of that energy that's showing up in the energy of this connection and how this Divine Feminine perceives her counterpart. She's very focused on victory. You know, this is a Divine Feminine that is working really hard to address her own weaknesses, to address her own shadow aspects, to figure out how she can continue to evolve and heal. And she's very irritated by this energy that's leaning in and making her feel less than because she's single. It's this feeling, as I said, of exhaustion, of just, oh God, you know, how long do I have to wait? How much work do I have to do? And yet there's still this energy of determination and optimism here. Even though she's tired, this is a Divine Feminine that has so much stamina, so much strength. But sometimes, you know, it's this energy of, what about me? You know, it's so hard, I'm so tired. And even though you continue, despite that, you keep battling on and you keep holding on to faith, you know, realistically, this is really exhausting you at the moment. And sometimes you feel like giving up, and then you kind of regroup and reframe the situation and you carry on moving forward. So much stamina and endurance here. And I have to say, hats off to you, Divine Feminine, because I feel like you are working with a really challenging Divine Masculine over here. And these energies are so turbulent and tumultuous, so ever-changing, that sometimes you don't know if you're coming and going. It's a real roller coaster ride. But you're trying your best, you know, you're keeping your head above water. But that kind of energy of, oh God, you know, how much longer can I really do this, just keeps creeping in and pushing you off center. What's so challenging about your masculine, and I've got to be real with you, is that they are in a really dark, confused, conflicted place. And when someone is in that energy, they are unpredictable, they're unreliable, and they're downright infuriating. And I feel that for you. We've got the Lovers showing up twice in reverse here. And this is reminding us that this person is not in a healthy place to be able to even understand this, let alone make healthy choices. When the Moon comes up in reverse, it's strongly indicative of an underlying condition, probably something connected to their mental health, depression, anxiety. And with the Four of Cups in reverse, this is someone that is really resistant to introspection, that doesn't have the tools or the capacity to investigate the truth of this situation and their feelings. And so they're so erratic in how they present. They don't know how they want to show up. 1 minute they're hot, 1 minute they're cold. Very, very challenging energies to deal with. the connecting energies here being the Lovers in reverse as well really demonstrates how both counterparts are in and out of the energy of wanting. You know, one minute they want this, they're hot, they're feeling it, the next minute it's cold. And in truth, what's happening here is that the divine feminine is being moved by this distorted energy of the masculine. And so she feels this, you know, ambiguity as well. Do I want this? I don't. I want it. I'm tired of it. Do I really want it? But I do want it. I want it to be successful. I've invested so much. And so it goes back and forward. So, you know, there is a message here to recognize that this roller coaster that you're on is dramatically affected by how they're pushing and pulling the energy. That even when you're trying your hardest, this person's energy is very destabilizing. And so Spirit wants to acknowledge how strong you actually are to keep showing up and trying to hold that balance and that energy of determination. You know, you're doing so well, Divine Feminine, in the face of what is very challenging circumstances. Your person doesn't have the perspective right now that allows them to achieve any degree of clarity in resolving this energy and making it okay. They do feel you in their heart. They know that there is a deep love here, but they don't understand why that hot and cold energy is in them either. They don't get why one minute they feel, you know, so drawn to you and the next minute so pulled back. But it's their own fears that just kind of keep pushing and pulling them and then creating this imbalance in your dynamic. In terms of thoughts and feelings, you know, this Divine Feminine is feeling disempowered and indecisive at the moment. Again, it's the energy of, should I give up? Shouldn't I give up? Am I wasting my time? I want to be with someone now. I'm tired of this connection. But she can't help but love. No matter how she perceives this connection and the challenges that she faces, she just holds this cup aloft. You know, there's so much joy and affection here. I'm really guided to show you how, you know, the waves of emotion keep lapping at her feet and destabilizing her, and yet she stands firm in her love. You know, she can't deny the love that she feels in this connection, but she is very conflicted about how to move it forward or whether to keep showing up. And so this indecision is ever present. You know, one minute it's like, oh my God, I love him so much, it's going to be okay. And the next minute it's like, I hate this bitch. Just get him out of my life. I want to move on. You know, really conflicted emotions. And again, no wonder when we see what the masculine is bringing to the equation. We've got the Five of Swords and the Eight of Swords here and the Eight of Cups in reverse. Now, the Five of Swords again is conflict. You know, this is someone that, because they don't know how to achieve real, authentic intimacy, you know, they play these games to kind of seek that reassurance. This came up in one of my piles the other day. I can't remember which reading, but it's quite common, you know, in these kind of dynamics, when you've got someone that doesn't know how to step into authenticity, and they're dealing with this indecision, this inner conflict, this uncertainty, this inability to grasp clarity, you know, they end up chopping and changing their mind, and this conflict drives that turbulent energy into the connection. They can be quite triggering and inflammatory in the way they present. You know, it can seem really hurtful and deliberate sometimes. And I feel like they probably have been honest with you about this. You know, I feel like this Divine Feminine has challenged the masculine and said, why do you do these things? I know you're trying to make me jealous. I know you're trying to upset me or trigger me. You know, what's really going on here? And even though the Divine Feminine has that clarity and the masculine may have chinks of clarity, in truth, they are powerless to stop this flow of energy, because they simply don't understand themselves. They don't have the same awareness that this Divine Feminine has. There's definitely a huge gap here in terms of evolutionary frequency, and that in itself presents a very real challenge, because the masculine feels so inferior when comparing themselves to the very highly evolved Divine Feminine that's always kind of explaining what's going on. The Eight of Swords is about self-entrapment. Traditionally in the Rider-Waite Tarot, what we see with the Eight of Swords is someone surrounded by a fence made of swords, and they're kind of loosely tied, they're wearing a blindfold, and swords represent the energy of the mind, our mental faculties. So it doesn't represent a real blockage, it represents a blockage in the mind, an inability to see past our own fears and our distorted perception of the reality. So this person's feelings, again, are very confused. They're running from them. This is someone that's not ready to face their emotions. And I want to draw your attention again to how many blocked reversed energies there here, and the absence of emotional depth. The Four of Cups in the reverse. The Four of Cups is about that self-absorbed introspection. You know, sometimes with the Four of Cups, when it's upright, it's actually an introspection that's out of balance. It's too self-focused. But what we're seeing here is no focus on self at all, a complete avoidance of one's own feelings, unless, you know, there's something that presents that forces them to confront it, and then they act. But they're not able to foresee or investigate their own feelings until it's kind of spelled out for them. And so they end up being pulled in different directions dependent on who they're conversing with or getting the information from, because they can't trust themselves. That, you know, and their feelings chop and change from one moment to the next because they're so out of balance. It's a dizzying energy, really disorienting. The Eight of Cups in reverse again is that refusal to look within. It's a refusal to confront our own depths. And what neither party is acknowledging here is the overwhelming attachment that exists between them. You know, the Devil is obsessive, codependent energy. And when that energy is blocked, what we see is two people refusing to acknowledge how deep that attachment goes. You know, the Divine Feminine is so determined not to be in chaser energy that she won't acknowledge this about herself. And the Masculine just doesn't want to acknowledge anything. So neither one of them is aware that in truth, you know, they are deeply attached, obsessed, and, you know, what's the word? Codependent on one another. But they're afraid to be in that energy. So there's no acknowledgement of it. There's a constant running from it. There's a refusal to address it. And yet both parties knows it's true for themselves deep down, but they don't know if it's true for one another. Again, we see this Divine Feminine here unable to see, refusing to tap into her own intuition or emotional depths because she doesn't want to be in chaser energy. So she won't acknowledge this about herself. Now, remember that recognizing our own imbalances is our strength. And so Divine Feminine, you know, the message for you is there's no shame in being in chaser energy. It's not a choice we make. We don't choose to be in chaser energy anymore. We choose to be in runner energy. It's just a culmination of energies that creates the imbalance. And it's up to us to identify which energies are out of balance so that we can restore harmony. So it doesn't serve you to pretend you're not obsessed. In that respect, you're pulling back in the same way as they do for different reasons, but actually you're mirroring each other very much in that respect. What's shifting is that the Divine Feminine is taking responsibility. You know, they're prepared to go on that journey. They're prepared to seek a higher ground and a higher perspective so they can see their own stuff and they can start improving, renewing and rejuvenating the energy that they actually hold and have power over. But there is a defensiveness here and still a reluctance towards decisiveness. And the message here is to remember that when you let the universe know what you want, you create space for the universe to deliver it to you. When we sit in the energy of indecision and we're constantly back and forth, I don't know, you're sending very confused messages to the universe and creating more of the same imbalances. You know, this Divine Feminine is defensive. She does struggle to face herself, to face her own weaknesses, and yet she's still done so much work around that already. It may be really hard to receive that information, but that's okay. It's okay to be defensive. It's okay to to find that facing yourself in one respect was harder than facing yourself in another. Just because we start healing doesn't automatically, magically make us receptive to all the healing we need. It's a step process. And so the universe is asking you to release shame, to forgive yourself, you know, to remind yourself that you're always doing the best you can with the energies you have. But you have this tendency to beat yourself up. Oh my God, why didn't I see that? I'm such an idiot. And, you know, because you're going to face that self-judgment and that harsh kind of punishment or inner dialogue, it causes you to resist facing more shadow, you know, because your mind is in this painful cycle of, you know, really punishing self for not being better, for not being where you want to be. You get there in the end, you do face it in the end, but it's always a battle for you. You know, each bit of healing you're doing, it's like you have to drag yourself there, kicking and screaming, furious at the unfairness of it all. And once you actually face it and you resolve it, you feel liberated and great, and you take another step forward. But you know, the energy here is saying you need to recognize how you're sabotaging yourself in this respect by creating these barriers and these self-defense mechanisms which inhibit you from truly seeing yourself and making more swift progress. But we do see you going on that journey with greater awareness. We do see you, you know, moving up to a higher ground, to get that higher perspective, seeking it out despite this fear and defensiveness. Your person, I'm sorry to say, isn't necessarily moving into improved energy. You know, what's shifting for them is not really a lot. We've got the Magician in reverse, the Three of Wands in reverse, and the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. And I'm just guided to remind you that this person is very confused right now and moving through a very challenging period in their lives where there's so many things to resolve that it's just overwhelming and they don't know where to begin. You know, this shows us how disempowered they feel, how ill-equipped they actually feel to deal with the very confusing energies that present. They're probably not working. And that in itself is very triggering for them and very undermining to their self-esteem. They don't know what fulfillment looks like, and this is part of the problem. They don't know what they want, and if we don't know what we want, it's very hard to choose a path, you know, to choose the right path. And again, you know, the Divine Feminine does mirror this. So much mirroring going on here. What's really powerful here is that we do have the Three of Wands upright as the connecting energy for what's shifting. Now, in the traditional energy of the Three of Wands on the Rider-Waite Tarot, what we see is someone kind of stood on land overlooking the ocean, and there's a boat coming towards them. They are waiting for their ship to come in. It comes, of course, it's a progression of the Two of Wands, which is making that decision. We see here them, you know, putting their rod in the ground. This is what I want, and now I can wait for my boat to come in. And the Three of Wands therefore depicts the arrival of that, the fulfillment of that decision, you know, of that investment. So, you know, the Three of Wands is the energy of fulfillment. And with this being the Fox as well, the energy of strategy, you know, this is saying that what's shifting is that you're both being moved towards what you want, and that you can trust that the right boat is coming towards you to take you to the next level of this journey. You know, even though it feels like you're both kind of flailing in the water, not really knowing what you want or what to do, that the divine plan continues to unfold in a way that's always guiding you towards the right resolution. So you are being asked to trust that this is going to be okay, but also to recognize that there is a long journey ahead. Your person isn't ready to show up in the way you need them to, and their hot and cold energy is so maddening, it's so irritating. I really understand how frustrating it is for you, and that you're ready for this union, you're ready to be taken care of. But Spirit reminds you you've come this far, and to trust in that faith you have in victory. It's not misguided. This is going to be okay. This period that you're in is not going to stay like this. Everything is transient. Next week it might look really different. But where we are right now, you know, this is about making you aware that your masculine isn't in a position to actually show up in an authentic way and communicate about the connection, the relationship, their true authentic feelings. I know you want this so much, you know, you just want them to take the cup, to meet you halfway, to have these deep and real conversations with you, because you see how beneficial and powerful that is. But your person cannot see the wood for the trees. They are simply not capable of offering you that right now. Oh, okay. So what are you not acknowledging about this connection, Divine Feminine, that you need to acknowledge? The Empress in reverse, the Six of Cups in reverse, and the Queen of Pentacles. And what is your person not acknowledging about this connection? We've got the King of Cups, the Nine of Cups, and the Six of Cups in reverse. That's so interesting. Six of Cups in reverse has shown up for both of you. When the Empress comes up in reverse as something you're not acknowledging, this is distorted feminine energy. And again, this has already come through for you as a message. You're so determined to not be chasing and to be balanced and stable that you're refusing to acknowledge where you are not balanced and stable. You know, this is kind of that fake it till you make it energy, which is really powerful. It can really help us create change, because awareness of, you know, the decision to be strong and in our power is half the battle won, but not at the expense of ignoring the imbalances that are actually creating the energy. It's not enough to say, I'm going to be surrendered, I'm going to be in my power. You've got to take the time to be really honest with yourself about where you're not in the energy of acceptance and what that reveals about you. And again, this Divine Feminine has a lot of pride. You don't want to acknowledge this about yourself. You've worked so hard to be in balanced energy that when it becomes distorted, you're very triggered. For God's sake, really, I've done all this work and I'm still in distorted energy? No, that's not me. I'm healed. I've done loads of work. It's not being able to face your truth. And, you know, the universe is reminding you that there's no shame in being at this point in your journey, and that actually we move from surrender energy back into chasing energy, on and off, as we learn to stay in our power. It's a very normal cycle to switch between those two energies as you're learning to actually hold the centered balance in being in your power. And so this is what you're not acknowledging. You're not acknowledging that you've kind of lost your footing, and that you need to really reflect on that honestly so you can find your way back. The fact that the Six of Cups shows up in reverse for both of you in terms of what's not being acknowledged is very, very revealing. The Six of Cups is a soulmate energy, but as you can see here, it's also about making an offer. And the thing is, you're waiting for an offer. You know, you really want this person to show up and say, here, this is how I feel. This is who I am. This is what I want. Let's talk about it. Let's be real. Neither one of you is actually in the energy of being able to truly step into authenticity for one another. And so, Divine Feminine, you may think you've been authentic, but we have to remember what authenticity means. Authenticity is to speak our truth just because it's who we are. When we express ourselves with an agenda, with a view to receiving something in return and that energy being accepted, it's not really authentic. It's ego-driven communication, ego-driven honesty. So you're being asked to recognize that both of you are creating the imbalance here. I know you think you're being authentic, but in truth, nobody is creating space for authenticity here. You know, you're both creating that blockage. The Queen of Pentacles, remember you had the King in reverse? This is reminding you, you already have everything you need. That you are stable, abundant, strong and independent, and that you can take care of yourself. You know, you can continue driving this journey forward. Deep down, you know that. You know, there is a great deal of self-empowered energy here, but it just kind of triggers you sometimes when you get tired of being your own superhero. But Spirit's reminding you that you are blessed and abundant already. You know, you really have so much to be grateful for, and you're really so very capable of taking care of yourself, and that this is actually the goal of the journey, to be autonomous in your happiness, joy, love and fulfillment, and that this is the path you're on and you're succeeding in. So, you know, to not allow yourself to be derailed by this longing when it comes up to catch you. Your masculine with this King of Cups energy is really interesting. What's he not acknowledging? He's not acknowledging his very deep feelings, of course. And with the Nine of Cups, he's not acknowledging that this connection is all about driving emotional well-being in each of you as individuals. It's all about learning to fill your own cups and to find that self-fulfillment, that self-love, that happiness and joy. Your person perhaps recognizes the spiritual nature of your connection, but not the purpose of it or their role or what's meant to happen for them. They just don't get that. The King of Cups does reveal very, very deep feelings, but also the propensity to hold on to them and not reveal them. And we have all these starfish here, which are really jumping out at me as a clingy energy, you know, and that's what terrifies them. If I allow myself to offer my cup and reveal myself, will I become attached in a way that makes me vulnerable and that puts me in a position where I'm not in control? So they are very risk averse and they don't understand the purpose of this connection. So let's get some guidance cards for you guys and some charms before we take this to the extended. We're going to go deeper in the extended and get messages from each counterpart as well. But the guidance, I think, is really important. I'm going to start with a Divine Abundance Oracle. If you're interested in what decks I'm using, I do always list them in the description box below. We've got Reframe, Outrageous Openness, Your Path, and Clearing. From the Iris Oracle, we've got Scry Mirror and Cosmic Exploration. And for the masculine, Rainbow Bridge and Can't Be Caught. From the Animal Spirit Oracle, we've got the Starfish. Isn't that interesting that came up there, that clinging energy? We've got the Dolphin. And finally, for guidance, this is the Universe Has Your Back Oracle. When I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. I choose love no matter what. And finally, from the Personal Power deck, I am lovable. I am unbreakable. And let's get some charms. Okay, one fell out, we'll keep that. No idea. The White Moth. This has come up so often recently. Don't overthink it. Sad songs. Hello, I'm yours. I need my space. Black like my heart. The yin yang symbol. Lit. And fake news. Okay. Divine Feminine. How are you clinging on to expectation? How are you holding on to what you think should be and struggling to let go so that you can allow for what's meant to be? Again, you know, there's a need here to be more honest with yourself, to reframe the situation, to recognize that even though these are frustrating energies, it's a gift. This is happening for me, not to me. You know, you're being guided back to the point of this journey, to the recognition that as it continues to unfold and the situation grows and transforms, I'm seeing all of these yellow butterflies here, which is growing through triggers, you know, really challenging energy, that there is a gift contained within that journey that's so valuable and so precious. Outrageous openness. Dear love, open me to your will. Release me from my attachments. Surprise and delight me with your plan. You know what's needed, and I am open and ready to receive. You know, when we reframe and accept what is, we allow ourselves to be open to receive what's meant for us. And again, I'm seeing these butterflies in the background that are no longer yellow. They're now blue, or is it quite a purpley colour, the colour of truth and intuition. And we see this lotus flower unfolding, our truth and awareness evolving. Really powerful energies. You need to reframe what's going on here. You're not being punished. I know it's challenging and hard, but you've got to try and stop resenting and resisting. to recognize that you are mirror images of one another, and one of them is divinely guided to trigger you. I'm really drawn to this yellow energy here versus this pink energy showing the shadows. Pink is the color of the divine. We see the shadow aspect showing up here like this mask, and then this yellow energy, this very triggered energy. You know, you're mirroring each other right now, even if it doesn't appear that way. The fear they're feeling is in you too, and vice versa. The indecision is in both of you. The frustration, the confusion, the inner conflict, it's in both of you. Cosmic exploration. Path 3, you have very unique and powerful psychic ability. You are an explorer of the universe. You have access to higher dimensions. I'm hearing that you are very, very skilled and very highly trained and educated on the subject of psychic and spiritual matters. And Spirit is guiding you back to that skill and those gifts, to recognize that you always have the power and ability to tap into more truth, to be more open to receiving the guidance you need. But when you get in this energy, this distorted energy, you tend to avoid or ignore the things that are good for you. You know, because you're so focused on what they should be doing, worrying about what's going on here. You know, we had that, where is it, the don't overthink it energy. You know, you get so tangled up in the analysis of the situation that you forget that you do have a much higher perspective than most, that you have this ability to tap in at a very high dimensional level and to really understand and transform this. At the root of all this pain you're feeling is this I am unlovable energy, and I'm hearing this deeply connects to your body image in a lot of cases, and to how you were raised, to how your parents demonstrated a lack of approval or acceptance for who you are. You know, there's a part of you that still doesn't feel that you are lovable enough to receive, and that wound may be beneath your conscious awareness. Regression therapy helps with those kind of wounds that we can't necessarily see about ourselves, but there is something deeper here. You know, I know you think you're loving yourself, but there's always room to love yourself some more. And what we're seeing here is that in some respects, you still don't feel worthy. And this is what causes you so much pain, and why you sink back into the energy of rejection when this person keeps blowing hot and cold. You're so susceptible to that change in energy from them, and it hurts you every time. And it's because you still need their validation to help you feel loved. And when you don't get it, you simply don't feel loved. It's very triggering. When I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. Remember this ability you have to tap into higher intuition and wisdom, to sit in faith rather than dwelling in frustration and resentment. Your person's coming up with this dolphin energy. You know, deep down, they just want to be happy. They want to be playful and to just enjoy life. And this sometimes is what actually causes them to turn away from the shadow aspects and pain. You know, it's a desire to just pretend that everything's okay. This is quite an immature energy. You know how children have this magical way of just not addressing their upset, but just going out to play and enjoying their day and being in the moment, in the present. You know, this is what your person tries very hard to do. And so sometimes, you know, when you see them in this energy of just being a bit goofy and silly, you know, it makes you think, oh, well, you know, you can be happy when it suits you. You know, you're happy when you want to play with all these other people and, you know, show up. But in truth, they're just running. It's a running energy, running from themselves. Your path. Dear Lord, help me trust that there's a plan far beyond what I can see through my fears and illusions. And this is what this person needs the most. They need faith. I do feel like this person has very suicidal tendencies. We've got black like my heart. They get very, very bogged down with the weight of the world and the weight of their pain. And they can't always see through that fear, through that illusion. Remember, we had the 8 of Swords for them, that nothing can work out for them. And that's what keeps them stuck and swinging from one extreme to another. Clearing. As true offering arises, it becomes easy to let go. You start to trust more will always arrive. You shift from mine to God's, God's, God's. Such freedom. Now, this is a very powerful energy. This is reassuring them that, you know, when they allow themselves to open up to faith, when they allow themselves to trust and stop trying to control, that the divine takes over and a true offering can be made. Space is cleared for what's meant to be. I'm hearing for most of you, your masculine won't receive this guidance, but that spirit is always reassuring them and sending them the messages in ways that they can receive. They're refusing to take that step into their spiritual self. They don't trust themselves. You know, they're unwilling to take that leap of faith and explore their own divinity because, you know, they don't trust what's on the other side of that, and they don't want to be caught. You know, the more you're in this chasing energy, the more they run. And, you know, the more you long for this intimate communication, the more they resist it. The key here is to just let go, both of you. And we've got this energy of I choose love no matter what. Do you know what? I've got a really weird, dizzy, nauseous feeling washing over me at this moment. And I'm really guided. It's actually making me feel quite sick. Like I need to sit down. It's making me really dizzy. I've got like a hot flush and a rush of dizziness. I don't think you understand how deep that fear is, that when you come towards them with that deep, intense intimacy and love, no matter what it is they truly wish for, they can't help but run. It's such an overwhelming, intense feeling. They're not ignoring you to be a prick. They're ignoring it because they can't face it. It's so uncomfortable, dizzying even. They need to just keep choosing love. But we must understand how scary it is to do that when love's never shown up for you. This person's never known constant love. And even though you try and, hello Pip, even though you try and offer them this, they don't know how to keep choosing it. They're not as fragile as they think. They've been broken and bent out of shape many times, and they always spring back, and I feel this is what they're being challenged to do at the moment. Hence we've got this black like my heart, I need space. You know, this person is just trying to find their feet in a very confusing time in their life. Sad songs felt really specific for some of you. I'm hearing that for some of you, your person is a musician or a lyricist, and this is how, maybe even a poet, but this is how they express themselves. They may have shared sad songs with you, perhaps not for everyone songs they've written themselves, but there's a, you know, you're definitely being asked to recognize what they're trying to communicate through the music they're sharing. As I said, deep down, they know that you are in their heart. They know that. They know that you are part of each other, but it's so very difficult for them to accept that right now. They need space. Yin yang. They know this is a spiritual connection. And that very thought lights them up. It does help them feel safe, but it's also terrifying. They don't know what's real and what isn't. Fake news. This person does mislead you. They do try and make you jealous. They do distort the truth to help themselves stay in control. And so you've got to stop overthinking and overanalyzing and lean back into the faith that they do love you, but they're unable to show up and communicate that and be in that energy with you right now. It's not personal. They just have no idea how to make this work. But look at this moth. Again, this comes up for a lot of people, a symbol of beautiful, powerful spiritual transformation, a reminder that the universe is always clearing a path for you both to ascend, and that you can trust that you're always moving in the right direction. I'm going to take this over to the extended now, path 3. If you would like to join me there, you can find the link in the description box below. But thank you for joining me here. It really is such a pleasure to read for you. I hope you find it helpful. Please let me know in the comments below. I love hearing your feedback, and it obviously helps to inform what kind of readings I need to be doing or where I'm getting it right and wrong. So please do leave me your feedback. I love to hear from you guys. And I will see you next time. You know, stay well. Be strong. Thank you so much for all of your support and your likes. Thank you for subscribing and your donations. It means such a lot to me. And a very special thanks to those of you that watch my commercials. It really does make the biggest difference to my channel. I can genuinely see an uptake in how many of you have been doing that. And, you know, that means YouTube will recommend my videos more and more people are able to access this guidance. So thank you so much for being here with me and for supporting my work. Take care, and I will see you next time. Lots of love. Bye.